So there's a 100% chance that Cam Smith will be on the roster opening day.
Yes.
Let's say 99.99 so we don't jinx it.
Right. Unless something happens today.
Or I get some blogger coming. Real baseball people know that there's a Title 13 of that you could send them down to Sugar. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm excited about it. I'm super. I was waffling a little bit at 6 a.m. yesterday morning, and then by about 6:04 a.m. you had convinced me that I was yellow and that I needed to embrace this with all the ferocity of a new recruit. Yeah, and I am ready to go. I'm here for it, man.
Good for radio, that's for sure. And I think it's good for the Astros. If I'm not expecting his whatever his 1,200 OPS was in spring training to carry over into the regular season or anything, but if you get average right field play, like offensively I'm talking about, defensively is going to be a work in progress. I think everybody needs to probably pump the brakes a little, and I think everybody has. They know, like, he's not played, essentially, for all intents and purposes, has not played right field before. If he is an average to slightly above average offensive outfielder in his rookie year, that's going to be better than anything else you had on the roster out there, or that you were planning for when you made all these moves to trade Kyle Tucker in the first place. One thing, no matter whether it's relevant or not, that's exciting about this is that when he hit those two first home runs in spring training, who was it against? It was against the New York Mets. That's right.
We had Jose Siri out there in center field, and so there's a little bit of familiarity there, and that he's already faced the team wearing this uniform. Yeah. And with some of these same major league starters who were starting that day, he hasn't at one point looked at any bit like the moment was too big for him, or that he's having trouble adjusting to the level of competition, or anything like that. I don't think it's not like people are going to freak out if he doesn't have a good day offensively on day one or anything.
No.
But I'm also not going to be surprised if he has an incredible day on day one.
Yeah.
There's no book on him yet. There's not a whole lot of film for all the pitchers to break down and whatnot. So he might get some good pitches. And I'm predicting over under 1.5 hits.
Oh, you're in daily fantasy mode right now.
Yeah.
I'll go under just because
that's hard to get. It's hard to get two hits
in
any
major league game.
Yeah, I'm a horrible handicapper, but I'm optimistic as hell as an Astros fan.
Do you have an app that I can subscribe to, Seth? I think I might bankrupt your app.
I'm going to take these guys out. Oh no,
sorry, prize picks. I'm doing Payne picks. Yes,
I know that is my blind spot with daily fantasy. Is I am a homer, hardcore homer. This is how I go into all. This is how I go all in. This is how I go into all of my daily fantasy plays.
Yeah.
I'm like, I say, all right, listen, I know I'm being a homer, but what's realistically the best thing who is probably going to perform the best, and then which players from the opposing team are going to probably play the worst. But instead of looking at the whole board and finding out what genuinely is the best, I handicap myself when I handicap.
Yes, yeah. No, and there's nothing. I don't know. There's nothing more energy sapping than betting less than on your own guys.
I don't like it.
It's not fun.
Especially when I read my picks on the radio.
Yes.
I'm like, to our listeners, I got to tell you, everybody, listen, pump the brakes on Cam Smith. I'm taking less than on all of these.
All of them. Here was Cam Smith last night. Cam Smith in the dugout after he learned the news that he'd made the Major League Ball Club, short back and forth with the media.
Yeah, I always thought it was possible. I think I had a great group of guys around me to help me out to get here today. So I always saw it as a possibility, for it to happen. And, we're here today talking about it now. So I'm very blessed.
I know this is very emotional for you, but just the special nature of having your mom deliver that. You said you broke down, but can you just take us through the idea that she would be the one, after all she did for you, to tell you that you made the major leagues?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
at one point it was just me and her in the house. She struggled to take me to baseball games and practice, and I'm just happy to do it for her.
All right, so that was Cam. Cam, very emotional about
And I remember when we met his mom, it was when he was, it was the day he hit those 2 home runs.
Yes.
We met her in the parking lot. We were walking past a group of women who were trying to take a selfie in front of the Astros
Big
logo
Astros
out in front of Cacti Park. And one of them said, "My arms aren't long enough." And I said, "Hey, I'll take that picture for you." And we got to chatting with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lo and behold, I know, it sounds kind of creepy when we put it that way. Hey, ladies, I got long arms.
Long arms, long legs, long.
The appendages are, So it wasn't like that. I said, "Hey, I'll take the picture for you." And we got chatting with him, and lo and behold, it was Cam Smith's mom and grandma and one of their family friends, I believe.
Yeah.
And in talking to his mom at the time, she had seen a bunch of guff on social media about people who were down on the Kyle Tucker trade. And she seemed like she was worried a little bit about the Astros fan base reception of her son because they didn't seem all that high on Cam Smith, and they were very down, or at least the comments she was seeing were people that were down on the Kyle Tucker trade. I'm guessing that her experience on social media has changed a lot over the last few weeks.
I would think so, and especially in the last 24 hours when the video ran yesterday. I've never seen this done for a Major League Baseball player making the team. Now, admittedly, we get a lot more access to behind the scenes in this day and age than we ever have before. I would say more access during the Joe Espada year that he's previously with the Astros. We get a lot of in the clubhouse stuff on social media from the Astros now, at least we have during spring training. They had Cam Smith's family there. It looked like his mom, what I'm guessing might be his stepdad or her husband, whatever, either way. The grandmother was there, and it was a very emotional scene of Joe Espada announcing that Cam Smith had made the team. It got a lot of largely very good reaction on social media is what I saw to it. I mean, it is a cool thing that you don't get to see. I guess my question would be, and this is not to rain on the parade or anything, is I do wonder what the rest of the guys in the clubhouse were thinking that probably never had a video about them making the major leagues before.
It was a little bit of bringing in that college football dynamic of announcing that a guy gets a scholarship, except that you added on to it by having the family right there in the clubhouse. Yeah.
Well, and except that in those videos, typically the team mobs the guy who got the scholarship.
That's where I think the unfamiliarity of the situation made it almost a little bit awkward to watch because there was a prolonged period of the mom walking towards the son, both of them crying, and it was just dead silent.
Yes.
And to the point where I was just, please, somebody start clapping. Could somebody start clapping or mob them? But I think the players are probably thinking, okay, I don't want to interrupt this moment of a guy with his mother.
We've literally
never
seen this before.
Right, everything was just a little bit different. Yeah. You didn't quite know. Eventually they started clapping, but it was after a whole lot of crying, very, very audible, and dead silence everywhere else.
My biggest takeaway from that whole thing, because it was very emotional, and I thought it was, I think obviously very cool. Like, this is a goal that this kid has had. He's achieved that goal well before anybody thought he would achieve that goal. Man, you learn the backstory of him and his mom and him just laying out there that, single mom raising him, hard time even getting him to practice in games. I mean, it's really, really cool. My big thing was, who I want to just sit this one out today? All the people who wanted that 4th year of arbitration. Like, you know what? This is cool. Just sit it. If you still feel that way, just sit today out. Just sit. Yeah. You can bring it up. If it starts to turn into something where it's even a question he should be on the team early in the season, bring it up then. But, man, this is just really, really cool to have Cam Smith make this baseball team.
I'll tell you what, though. I think that if you look at the long history of the Astros from the first year of Jeff Luhnow to now, I think in a lot of ways, the fact that Cam Smith is being elevated when he is a little bit of the way the organization has changed from being one that was so cold and calculating in many respects. And even after the team got good, there were still elements of the way they operated that I think chafed against some of the people, either in baseball or players themselves, where this is a way more, I guess. It's weird to say that elevating a minor leaguer this fast is old school because it's not the typical way of doing business. But their guys' service time strictly to try to get every last advantage over one of their own players. I mean, it's not. Look, George Springer never forgot that they messed with his service time.
No, they didn't.
You know,
We've had a lot of people point that out.
It's one of those things where you feel like, oh, all right, this is 100% of business. This feels way more human, and I think Dana Brown, and being an old school baseball scout in a lot of ways, is a lot different than Jeff Luna was as a completely non-traditional baseball personnel.
I 1,000% agree with that part of it here. I do wonder if this team were forecasted to either be a 70-win team or a 100-win team if Cam Smith would have made the club. I think the fact of the matter is now this is a team that's forecasted to win about 85 games that needs all hands on deck to win 85 or 90 games and win this division. He gives you the best chance to win right now out of all those guys. So, but that would have been the interesting part. If Jeff Luhnow were still the GM of this team and they were forecasted to be in a dogfight to win the AL West, would he have?
I think honestly, and that's not shade at Luhnow, he just operates a different way. I think he would look at it and try to make it completely about the math and the long-term health of the organization and
100%.
everything. And that, you know what, the long-term, what are we going to get out of him over the duration of his career? It makes more sense to just keep him down until we get that extra year of service time.
How are you guys feeling about it? 713-572-46